everybody, so new review today. We're talking about Reacher, the upcoming Jack Reacher series on Amazon Prime Video. It's been several years now since the Jack Reacher films came out in theaters, as we now shift the character over onto streaming with this new series that's going to debut on Amazon Prime this weekend. This series follows Jack Reacher passing through Margrave, Georgia, and he's arrested for a murder that he didn't commit, but because of that, he unknowingly finds himself in the middle of a deadly conspiracy in the town that he must get to the bottom of. When it comes to the source material itself, there's just so much potential to be had here with the Jack Reacher character, because there's quite a wide variety of novels to choose from. Like the first two films we had with Tom Cruise was the 9th book and the 18th book, which always struck me as kind of odd as a Jack Reacher fan, but that's a story for another time. Thankfully with this series though, we're adapting the first Jack Reacher book, Killing Floor. I know there's a couple other prequel books out there that are set before Killing Floor, but this is the first Jack Reacher book, so whether you're a fan of the Jack Reacher character or not, this is a good jumping off point. It has been quite a long time since I read the Killing Floor novel, but from what I do remember of the novel though, I think that this series is a very faithful adaptation of the book come to life with this series. Maybe a little bit too faithful, which I'll get into later, but all around, if you love the book, it's impressive just how well it's put together. Compared to the films, I much prefer this version of Reacher because I think that this series actually does a greater job fully capturing what makes the character so interesting to follow. It wastes no time at all hooking you into the mysteries of this small town that Reacher slowly tries to unravel over the course of the season. There's a wide variety of twists and turns in the story that are complemented greatly with the impressive, brutal action sequences that kept me locked in and engaged in all 8 episodes. It's an extremely bingeable show. I'm glad that Amazon Prime went with releasing the entire season all at once, because I don't think that the flow would have fit as well if we did 1 episode per week with this Reacher series, as many of the episodes end and then the first scene in the next episode is right where we left off. Like, you could really cut out the credits in all of the episodes and it could be like one big long movie. It almost seems like, to me, the action thriller genre as a whole, it seems like Amazon's trying to take a stranglehold of it. You have Jack Reacher, Jack Ryan, you also have Without Remorse, which is kind of connected to Jack Ryan. So if that's your kind of jam, I think Amazon Prime has you covered. Speaking of Reacher, I actually love the casting here of Reacher himself, Alan Ritchson. Very underrated actor in my opinion. I've seen him a lot in Titans, and if you have seen Titans, you would know that his schedule is very free now who played this character. He absolutely has the physicality to play Reacher, but I liked his approach to the character as well, easily coming across as likable or threatening depending on the situation. We see there's a lot of depth to him underneath the surface as we learn more about him and why he's in Margrave, and that made him a very interesting character to follow. And that's without even considering the fact he has some great fight sequences in Reacher. There's some pretty great fight choreography all throughout the 8 episodes. Not only are they very bloody, brutal action sequences, but they're filmed very well and they're not like annoying shaky cam kind of fight sequences. You can pretty much see everything that's going on. So kudos to the show for having some great action. That's something that's sorely missing in many action series these days. From a book fan standpoint, he resembles the character much more closely to how he's described in the book series compared to Tom Cruise. You know, when he's described in the books, he's like this big hulking man with dirty blonde hair, and that's just not Tom Cruise. I think he's a great actor and a great action movie star in his own right, but when I picture Jack Reacher, I picture more Alan Ritchson, to be honest. Outside of the central conflict here and the conspiracies inside of Margrave, it's just very entertaining to just see Jack Reacher blow in the town and everyone in the town have no idea how to deal with him. Right from the moment he steps foot into Margrave, he shakes things up for everybody, and poor Finley and Roscoe have to deal with him, and they eventually just end up embracing him as part of the team almost by force, but I think that is one of the better elements, that dynamic between the 3 of them. Malcolm Goodwin and Willa Fitzgerald really bolster the supporting cast here. They're probably my favorites among the supporting cast in the entire season. Both of them are actors I like in many other things. 2 of them have some great scenes on their own, but one of their biggest attributes to the season is that both of them help us get to see different sides of Reacher as a character. It's just unfortunate that Willa Fitzgerald especially gets kind of sidelined halfway through the season without going into too much detail, and it's more of a nitpick thing, but the accent that she has for this Georgia accent, it kind of wanes in and out over the course of the season. Not just her though, there are a couple other characters in the show that have some bad accents, but like I said, it's a nitpick. It's not really anything that's detrimental to the quality of the entire season. I think it's great that we stuck so close to the source material here when adapting Killing Floor into this series, but I do think that sticking too close to the source material though kind of hurts this series just a little bit. There are 8 episodes in Reacher, and the series slows down considerably in the middle portion because it gets very exposition heavy, introducing a lot of elements and characters in the story, and a lot of that bogs down the pacing. It's kind of why I'm glad that we released this season all at once, because I think if we released this episodically, 1 episode per week, those middle episodes would be very boring if you were just watching 1 per week, and maybe people would probably lose interest. It's one of those tough things when you're adapting a novel into a movie or a TV show, is trying to streamline things, figuring out what to take out, what to leave in, and I feel like for the most part this show decided to just leave in almost practically everything. There are a few minor changes, but for the most part, if you've read the book, it's pretty much the exact same. Which necessarily isn't 100% a negative. If you're a new fan of the Jack Reacher character and you haven't read the novel, then you're going to be surprised surprised by everything, but if you're a fan of the novels, you've read Killing Floor, you don't really have too much to be surprised by, I guess I should say. I think it bogs down to your expectations going into this. If you just want a really great adaptation of Killing Floor, I think that Reacher does suffice. All around, I think Reacher is a solid series. If you're in the mood for an interesting action thriller with great action, I think this will definitely satisfy that. Hopefully we get another season of the show. I'm not really particularly sure, but I had a fun time with the show. I hope that we get more seasons because there's so many books you could adapt and you could do one book per season like it seems like they're going for with the series already. But make sure you share your thoughts down below when you do get a chance to check out the series when it debuts on Amazon Prime Video February 4th. Did you like the series? Not like the series? Share all your thoughts down below what you thought of the series, whether you're a new fan of the Reacher or you're a fan of the novels going into this with a fresh open mind. I'm very much looking forward to the reaction from the Reacher fan base to see how they feel about this show compared to the Tom Cruise films. But thank you guys as always checking out my reviews. I really appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you're updated by movie reactions, unboxings, and more. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.